Good morning, everybody. How are you? We're here at Sutter's Creek. I thought we would start the tour on the outside, give you a good walk around, and then we're going to go inside. And I have to tell you that the park rangers here, Sutter's Fort became property of the state of California in 1947, and so it's now a historical state park. And I thought we'd start outside. Let me do some housekeeping for anybody watching this uh, as a video replay afterwards. Yay and welcome. Please like and comment and subscribe to the channel. After we take a walk around the fort outside, we're going to go inside. And these park rangers are wonderful to me. They let me park my bike inside. Good morning, Michaela. How are you? I saw your snacks that you have ready, your California snacks. The park rangers let me park my bike inside. You know, Andrea and Evia have they have the blue horse. I have the mint green pony. So they've let me park it outside. And they've also got one of the rangers who's going to go into the blacksmith shop for us and open it up so we can see what everything's about. Hello, Sarah. We're outside the fort right now. Let me turn this camera around for you so you can enjoy it. There we go. Goodness, are you there? Are you there? All right. Sorry about that. I kind of kicked myself out of the app. So here we are. We're on the north facing part of the fort. Hi, Natalie. Welcome. And this is a beautiful duck pond. You can see the fort. Oh, yeah. There's the fort over there. Oh, so sorry about that, Michaela. I'm so sorry. You know, funnily enough, this morning is when I realized that one, I had never used the gimbal with my new phone, because you guys remember I had some phone issues. And so this is a new phone. And all of a sudden this morning, I realized I didn't even have the gimbal app uploaded or anything. So there's usually some little duckies in here floating around. There's one that's a sleepy. You see him? Again, we're on the outside of the fort. Across the way over there, that building is the Native American Indian museum, and we cannot film in there. No way, Jose, can we film? So this is a state park. It's run by the California Park Rangers. They are extremely kind. Hello, friend. How are you? They are extremely kind. As I said, they let me park my bike inside of the fort, and they even went and got one of the rangers who works. He often does demonstrations in the blacksmith room, and they went and got him for me this morning, and he's gonna do a demonstration for us. He might even let us inside. I don't know. I've already paid for admission. The mint green pony is parked inside the fort. We are in Midtown. This is a beautiful park. Now, here you have, this is the northwest facing tower, and that is where the cannons are. Whoa, whoa, oh my goodness. Where did we go? There we are. Uh, Funnily enough, this fort was approved for John Sutter by Mexico because California at the time that the fort was built was owned by Mexico. We had not had the Mexican American War yet. And so the reason that the Mexicans allowed the fort to be built was that they wanted John Sutter to, one, discourage immigrants. Hi, Mary Lou, welcome. They wanted to discourage immigrants from coming. When Sutter himself was an immigrant from Switzerland, he had fled his homeland, leaving his wife and 5 children behind. He was fleeing bankruptcy and legal charges that could have led to his arrest. He then became, after traveling quite extensively, here we are on the south end of the fort. He then traveled quite extensively through America. When he first left Switzerland, he went to New York. From New York, he went to St. Louis. From St. Louis, he went to Santa Fe. From Santa Fe, he went up the Oregon Trail. And then he made it across the Pacific Ocean to the Hawaiian Kingdom, it was called. Hello, Sam, welcome. He missed his last ship to Alta, California, the only ship that was leaving the Hawaiian Islands. And so he had to stay in Honolulu for 4 months. And while he was there, he somehow managed to ingratiate himself amongst some very powerful people, including American consuls from Great Britain. This is the south entry to the fort. We're going to enter the fort from the east, where all things begin. He ingratiated himself among these people. When he did finally catch a ship to California 4 months later, he had with him 10 Hawaiians, who he had probably promised an awful lot of things. John Sutter was a very unscrupulous man, and definitely an opportunist. And he really had no care for other people whatsoever at all. Now, across the street over there, if you can see that big building, that is Sutter Health. That's a hospital. We have many things named after Sutter. During the Black Lives Matter movement, there was a large statue of Sutter, and it was removed because, well, he was known to enslave people. And so they thought it best for, public interest and patient safety that they would remove this statue of him. Now we are coming around to the front of the fort. Hold on, the sun is in my eyes. And as I said, I'd already paid for us to get in, and they gave me a little handy dandy map. And so we will let the fun begin. Everybody can see and hear me well? Oh, where is my handy dandy map? Hold on. Hold on. There it is. Okay. Here we go. Ooh, almost missed that step. Is everybody ready? Here we go. That's the park ranger's office. They're wonderful. is over there. And here we go. We're going to start where it begins. This is perfect. This is an immigrant room. It is where people that were traveling, that's what the fort was kind of built for, even though the Mexicans wanted it built to protect them against immigrants. They did not want people immigrating to California, which they owned. But Sutter was, he wasn't for that, being an immigrant himself. So this is where some of the immigrants that were traveling would have been able to rent it. Sutter was definitely a man out to make some money. Let's see if I can. What do you think of that? Now, these would have been, can you see the socks on the bed? These actually would have been some pretty posh digs to stay in back then. You know, the fort became a fort in 1839, and what John Sutter wanted it to be was an agricultural utopia. There's even a spinning, like a weave over there in the corner. Can you see it? He wanted it to be an agricultural utopia. He wanted it to be a lot of fields and things. Let's go. He wanted to grow a lot of crops. Okay, this up here, if you remember, that's part of the Bastille and one of the rooms. When I went downstairs the last time, I lost signal. Let's see how long it lasts while we're going up the stairs. And to show you the cannons, and hopefully the signal will hold. I'm hoping. So here we are in one of the towers meant to defend the fort. And funnily enough, these cannons were never fired. There's outside. We were just out there. Can everybody still see and hear me well? Are we okay? So you see that this particular room has got 3 cannons. We have one facing east, one facing south. Good, I'm so glad. There's some lanterns up there, obviously not lit. This is north facing. Perfect, I'm so glad we didn't lose signal. I'm not going to go into the lower room because I feel that we will lose a signal. Let's go into the orientation room, won't we? Let's see what this says. It says the southeast bastion of the original fort was used as a hospital for cholera and other patients in 1849 to 1850, with a Dr. Deal in charge. Sutter had cannons in the bastion until 1846, when the guns were removed and it was used for storage. And here we have a cannon right there for us. And loading and firing the cannon was quite an ordeal. As you can see, there's 3 guys right there. So the cannon is removed from the battery. The cannon's moved back with hand spikes 1 yard From a brazier, the wheels are chalked. When you load it, the bore is sponged out to kill any sparks. Black powder is ladled into the bore, followed by a wad, and then rammed. Next, a ball is rammed into the bore. In the battery, the cannoneers man their handspikes and move their piece forward to the embrasure, and then there's the point and fire. The gunner sights along the bar, giving his assistants orders to move the cannon right or left. He moves the wedge for elevation and then places a fuse in the vent. A touch of the lens stock to fuse, and the cannon fires. All right, this is the orientation room. There's a video playing for us. Let's take a look at what's going on in here. Oh, these are some pictures of the fort. Oh, look at that. This is some kind of 4th of July celebration. Swiss, but see, oopsie, oopsie. Wow. Wow. He always maintained. Would you like to watch a little bit of the video? Give me a thumbs up if you're interested in this. Married and went into business on his mother-in-law's money. And as so frequently happened with Sutter, in fact, it always happened with Sutter. Are you interested in this video? Worst businessman in history. He went broke. He found himself deeply in debt. He had a wife and 5 children, no way to support him, and the possibility of losing everything. Let's watch it. He eventually made his way to the United States.
Is John Sutter a colonizer? I think the answer to that question is absolutely yes, he was. And it's often reported kind of cavalierly that Sutter came into this wilderness just by himself without any means to impose his will. And nothing could really be further from the truth. He came into the region with sanction, with charter, and the native people in the region very much understood by that point what that charter represented. And so native people, from the moment Sutter sets foot, are dealing with this new power.
Let's sit back here. Oh, so sorry. Oh, so sorry. Hold on. I'm just sitting down. Oh, so sorry. Oh, so sorry.
Impressive looking guy. He was well dressed. He had military bearing. He spoke well. He spoke several languages. He was someone who looked like he was quite something. He certainly tried to portray himself as being quite something.
So he comes in with some sanction, with some power. He's intent on realizing that power in a commercial sense and a political sense. So how did you go about doing this? The pragmatic strain of Sutter is that he recognized.
Yes, Fran, thank you so much. I do still have the Annette Goes PayPal account. Thank you.
An outside force who has arrived with intentions to control them, which he does.
When John Sutter arrived in Sacramento Valley, it was devastating to local tribal communities. It absolutely wrecked the ecosystem.
Thank you for your support, Fran.
Tribal people who are inherently symbiotic with ecosystem were equally disrupted. When it actually came to Sutter himself, his philosophy was, you'll come work for me, or I'll make you come work for me.
And when Sutter got wind of any sort of rebellion in any community, he dealt with them in the most ruthless ways imaginable. He would march at night, he would surround an Indian community, sometimes he threw cannons, And he would simply attack without warning. He'd kill however many Indians he thought was necessary until they surrendered.
If he encountered a village that wasn't willing to work with him, he would burn down their roundhouse. And for
Hello
tribal communities,
and
that roundhouse,
welcome.
that's the center of our
Good
community.
morning.
Practice religion,
We're in the
practice
orientation
religion.
room right now
For
watching
him
a
to
video.
say, "You're gonna come work for me,"
And the park rangers have been so kind this morning. They're even going to have a ranger in the blacksmith room for us to do a demonstration.
That was how Sutter introduced himself to some of us.
So they're talking about how horribly he treated the Native American people that lived here. And if they wouldn't come and work for him voluntarily, they were forced. And it's often said that the Sacramento River often ran red with the blood of the Native American people. And that's why his statue was removed from the front of Sutter Health. This is the inside of the fort.
The ways that it's different from how it was when Sutter actually built it was that it's a lot more regular looking. It never would have looked like such a neat series of structures. This was a concept of architects and builders in the 1890s of what an 1840s building might have looked like. After the 1840s, Sutter's Fort deteriorated really quickly. It's an adobe building, and adobe needs constant maintenance to remain in place. Most of the fort sort of melted away, or the walls were torn down until only the central building was left. The central building is more or less the original building that was constructed during the 1840s.
Oh, and we're going to see
Everything
that
else
central building.
Was
We are.
reconstructed in the 1890s under the leadership of the Republicans of the Golden West. Their feeling about what they were doing with California history was that they were preserving California history, and I believe the exact phrase was, as God gave it to the white man. It was not about anyone else's history. It was very much about the California.
We were just out there. Do you remember?
And so that was the guiding idea behind reconstructing the fort, and it's part of the DNA of the reconstructed Sutter's Fort, is that this was intended to memorialize a very specific and erroneous idea of history.
All right, let's take a look at what the fort looked like. This is a diorama. I hope you can see it well.
Some kind of exposure to.
And remember, I told you that Sutter wanted this to be an agricultural utopia. And so it's probably hard to see, but these little things inside there are little pieces of cattle. There's horses and pigs and cows. There's people outside here working, still trying to build the fort. What do you think of that? Isn't it magnificent? It is, friend. It is magnificent. Now, here's some Native American people. They built their own little hut. He did not treat them well. They were forced to sleep on bare floors, not even a blanket. They were fed out of troughs, just like for pigs. It was quite terrible. Here comes some people that are traveling. They're going to come to the fort and they're going to rest. And they're going to let their animals rest, and they're going to eat, and they're going to purchase some supplies, and then they're going to get back on their way. Okay, shall we move on to the next room? Because there's so much to see, and I know that the park ranger, I'm sure, is going to be waiting for us in the blacksmith room because they're so lovely. Nicest people in the world here. Okay, here we're coming back out. Let's go. Here we are inside the fort. And, oh, thank you, Lynn. Here we are outside. We'll get to see that covered wagon when we make our way around that side. It is a bright and beautiful day here in California. Let's see. This is the gun platform. It's beautiful today, Fran. I came here one time when school was in session, and it was very loud because a lot of field trips. I came here on a field trip as a child. John Sutter was a significant part of history. However ugly his legacy is, as I said, there was a statue of him that was in front of the hospital named Sutter Health. And it was taken down during the Black Lives Matter because he was known to enslave people, but particularly the Native Americans. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We have so much to see. So much. Okay. Oh, I think I see our park ranger down there waiting for us. I kind of feel bad that he's waiting for us down there, but we're coming, sir. We're coming. Okay. This door, what is this? This is the orientation room again. Oh, what is this place? Oh my. What have we stumbled on? Oh, how fabulous. I did not know. It says, what was the fort's role as the United States took over? Because after the Mexican-American war, then Mexico lost California, right? So it says in 1844, California leaders Juan Alvarado and Jose Castro rebelled against the Mexican governor, and Sutter decided to support the governor in return for a grant of an additional land. So remember I told you Sutter came, he was an immigrant from Switzerland? These are some of the weapons that they would have used back then. And oh, Natalie, wonderful. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. I hope you all are. He left his wife, Annette was her name. He left his wife and his 5 children back in Switzerland. And then he traveled extensively through America. And then he found out that if he became a Mexican citizen, he could get a land grant. And that's what he did. He later became an American citizen. Oh my goodness. And I think there's more in here, but I don't know where the light is. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Let's not go in there. And you probably haven't heard of the Donner Party. That's also a big deal in California. The Donner Party was a group of people that wanted to travel across the Sierra Nevadas, and they kind of misjudged the weather and they got lost. But they stopped at Sutter's Fort to get some supplies. And Sutter actually donated some supplies, which was very unlike him because he was a very, very, very greedy man. Yes, Fran, it was a gruesome part of history. They were freezing and they were out there. And the very few survivors were actually brought back here to the fort. Let's take a look at what this could be. this box? It's like a candle holder, a magnifying glass. Boy, I don't know what that is. What could that be? Some knives, a large wooden bowl. Let's see here. There's some pictures of the fort. We saw some of that in the video. So as Sutter was expanding the fort, uh, he needed lumber, and the the quickest and cheapest lumber was available in the Sierra Nevadas off of the American River. So Sutter sent James Marshall, who worked for him. He sent him up to the fort because he wanted to build a water fueled sawmill that would send the pieces of lumber that he needed because he wanted to build an entire city and a wharf off of the Sacramento River. And so he sent his partner up there to send these pieces of lumber down to him so he could continue to build. Here we are at the south facing gate. Can you see the cannon up there? And this is of course the gate that we saw when we were outside on the south facing. Oh goodness, you guys were in for such a treat because I see the park ranger down there. Let's try to hurry to him. Let's see where we are now. We are, I think this is the guard room. It is. This is the guard room. So this is where the guards, you can see all of their tools, and of course, this is where they can sit and rest, and they're right outside of that gate. So if any trouble starts, they're going to be right there, right? What do you think of this? Is it magnificent? Fireplace over there in the corner. And I'm assuming the signal is still holding well. So interesting. There's one of the guards' hats. Okay, let's go see. Oh, some of the rooms are locked. The guard room. I think there's going to be, oh, this is the trade store. So this is where you could have come and bought some supplies for your travels. Do you see it? Looks like we got some pickles and olives, and I don't know what else is there. We have some stoneware and ceramics for the wives. We have lanterns. Probably lots of spices in those drawers, don't you think? There's some fabric, and there's some boots, and a hat, and some shovels and brooms, which you would have needed. I see a saddle. And I think that this on the end, I think that that's a scale. Isn't it so fascinating? And look at this old lamp that you would have had to light with your candles. We have some more lanterns up top. Is the signal holding well? Are you still all able to see and hear me? Because it's so magnificent, I don't want you to miss a thing. Here we go. Okay, now we've got even a more posh room. This is said to be John Sutter's actual bedroom. Oh my goodness. It's so cool. It's so amazing. There's a fireplace on the other side of the bed. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, I don't know who that is. Who's saying that? Whoever that is, don't worry about it. Someone's saying they can't get in to buy me a coffee, but don't worry about that right now. Just enjoy yourself. Okay. John Sutter's bedroom. So cool. So cool. Oh, I think we're going to the blacksmith shop. Oh, we gotta go to the candle. Oh, here's where they made the candles. Holy moly. I thinking they must have had to make an awful lot of candles, don't you? Oh, of course, there was no electricity. No electricity. Oh, Sarah, so that was you. Honey, don't worry about it right now. You can. Oh, no, my map. Oh, no. Oh, you can figure. Oh, sorry about that. I dropped our map. Honey, you can figure all that out later, Sarah. Don't worry. Just enjoy yourself, darling. Oh, this must have been a very, very, very busy room. Thank you, Lynn. Here we go. We're coming to the blacksmith shop. And there is our ranger. Hello, sir. How are you?
Right. Are we recording? Or are we live right now?
We're live.
Fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
good to see you. My name is Mark. I'm one of the interpreters here at Sutter Sport. Now, your mom told me when you were very young, you went around and interpreted the fort for her, and that's a lot of fun. And she said that you described our blacksmith shop as a mess. And that is absolutely the case. But it's a mess because we actually use and operate this forge. So we're going to do a little behind the scenes right now.
Oh, it's so cool. What?
We can go explore around a little bit.
Oh my God, we get to go in. Oh, we're inside.
So a blacksmith is a type of metal worker. That's where the word smith is implied. But blacksmith, the word black is referring to the color of the metal that they work with. And that would be iron and steel. So if you ever hear that somebody's a blacksmith, inherently they are a steel worker and an iron worker, and they work with a forge. That forge right there is a coal-powered forge. It gets up to about 3,000 degrees when it's continuously being pumped with air. We pride ourselves on having this big pump right here. This is the bellows. I'm sure you've seen the little tiny ones before, but this is the master bellows.
Oh.
Pump the handle there. It inflates the top, and as that falls, that's pushing air into the bottom of the forge, and you can kind of see little poops of soot coming out of there. So, as you were describing, yes, it is a mess in here, but that's because we're burning a whole lot of coal. Now, when the coal burns, you need to keep track of your piece of metal that's inside of the forge. When you pull it out, it's glowing at about 2,000 degrees. You bring it right over to your anvil, and we actually do demonstrations in this room. So this room was set up in the 1940s. It was given to us by a grant by the, the Pioneer Association. They paid for the whole thing to be replaced and replicated in the same way it would have been in the 1840s. Now, John Sutter, he had two blacksmith shops operational. He had one on this side of the fort, which is the west yard, and he had another one on the east yard. We're assuming that the one in the east yard was primarily used for repairs on barrel hoops and wagon wheels, because you're thinking the big wagon tires back then are huge iron bands that they're heating up. And then the one over here on this side would have been primarily making tools. So you're thinking farming tools like scythes, sickles, plows, things like that. And then also all the carpenters need tools. So saws, hammers, and every single nail that you can think of. And if you're thinking, the typical thing a blacksmith usually associated with, horseshoes, if you have 200 horses, each horse has 4 hooves. All hooves need a shoe, and then each shoe needs about 5 to 6 nails in it. So you can do the math on how much iron is going to be getting moved in.
This is a very busy place.
Oh, absolutely.
Fantastic. And like you said, the farming tools, the saws, right?
Absolutely.
Good, a lot of lumber needed because only fireplaces for the
Exactly.
heat.
Exactly.
Only fire for. Where did the coal come
So
from?
originally, that's a great point to bring up. So originally, they would have been using charcoal. So that's where they're
Wow.
taking down huge oak logs, basically. They're chopping them up into smaller pieces. They bury the logs and they catch them on fire. And that cooks out for a good while. It's usually by the river, about 2 miles north of here.
Yeah.
And then after that, they dig up all that charcoal in wagons and they bring it back over to the fort. So those blacksmiths would have been using charcoal. And they're also using that, like you said, in all the braziers to heat up the room and all the
Sure.
fireplaces and everything.
What is this?
This is a special type of surface that's called a swedge block. It's similar to an anvil, but it has all these different shapes in it to make different grooves and designs. So let's say you had a flat piece of metal and you wanted to make it an angle. You'd hit it with a different hammer. You can make rounded edges. You can punch holes that are small or big. You can do all sorts of forming. So we have tabletop anvils. We have swedge blocks. We have jeweler's anvils over here. We have special vices that are designed so that when you're putting the piece that you're working on in there, when you hit it, the pressure goes down through that iron leg that touches the floor so it doesn't put pressure on the side of the table.
Oh my gosh. It's the ingenuity,
Exactly.
right?
The blacksmithing is really interesting because it started thousands of years ago, and once they kind of perfected it around that time, they still use all the same techniques today. So whenever you pick up a hammer, you start learning all the same basic metal principles.
Would they have made cannonballs in here?
They wouldn't have made cannonballs in here only because cannonballs are cast iron. So cannons are as well. When you make the mold, then you pour the liquid iron in there. All of this would have been forged iron. The only difference is this never turns into a liquid. It just gets hot, and so it becomes malleable.
And this right here, just the water for cooling.
Exactly. So that's called the slack tank.
Fantastic.
The water is if you're making something that's very I guess you could say used in a situation with low stress, you can put it in water and that'll cool it down. So let's say you had a fireplace poker, you could cool it down in there and then you could get to using it. But if you wanted to make a tool like a knife blade or something that's very high carbon, so if you cool it down too quickly, it'll crack on you. So this was most common, but they also have vats of oil in here, usually some type of seed or nut oil that they have, and they could dunk it and that would cool it down a little bit slower and make the tools harder.
Now, who would have worked in here? Because we know that he did enslave the American Indians,
Absolutely.
and they would not have been familiar with metalworking.
That is correct.
So who did he have working in here?
So there would have been, there's noted in the New Helvetian Diary, which is the journal, the log that was kept here at the fort, it was noted that there were several blacksmiths that came cycling through, but one of the most famous ones was James Marshall.
Who went up and found the gold at Sutter's Mill and Sutter's Creek.
He's very often referred to as a carpenter, but back then he actually would be referred to as a mechanic. So we're not thinking mechanic today, just specifically on cars. Mechanics back then are kind of a jack of all trades.
Sure.
So he knew how to be a carpenter. He was a tinsmith. He was a blacksmith. He could make barrels, buckets, butter turns. He knew how to do a little bit of everything, and that's what made him so had so much utility for John Sutter.
Yeah.
So this would have been
Because John Sutter was an opportunist.
Exactly.
He didn't pick people because he liked people. He chose people for what they could do for him. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, all the indigenous people would have been the ones who would have been doing the field work. They would have been doing all the what is called unskilled labor.
Sure.
So it's the most intensive labor that requires the most amount of time and effort. And then a lot of the Europeans and then also the Californios, as they would call them, were doing the more skilled labor. So they were his vaqueros riding horses and doing cow work. They were the ones blacksmithing, doing carpentry, all those kinds of
Because that's what he wanted. He wanted this as an agricultural utopia. And then he wanted to build out further, which is why he sent Marshall up to the mill, because he needed the lumber to build the wharf.
That's exactly right.
And the city along the river, right?
If you know what the Sacramento Zoo is,
Yeah, Land Park.
Right there.
Yeah.
Land Park is where Sutterville was going to be constructed, because like you said, he was going to build on the Embarcadero and get ships off the port, and then he was going to bring people over to Sutterville. He was going to sell houses to them, and that's a key reason why James Marshall was constructing that sawmill, because he was.
We needed that wood. We needed that. Yeah. And Sutter, he was built. reading about the history of him. And he was born to kind of humble beginnings. His father was a foreman in a paper mill. His grandfather was a pastor, right? I always got the feeling that he always felt he was meant for bigger things. He was a little big for his britches.
He grew up with, he went to military school, and this is post Napoleonic era. So he sees all these gentlemen going around in their very regal garb that they're going. And, think of any young man that plays with army men nowadays.
Sure.
It's the same concept back then.
Sure.
So he went to military school. He had a military bearing, and he just kind of put himself in his own mindset of, I can make myself as close to that as possible. So he even lied when he came to the Americas and said, I'm Captain John Sutter of the Swiss Guard, and he was never a captain of anything.
No.
He knew how to carry himself. He knew how to dress the part. He spoke multiple languages.
In fact, he was fleeing Switzerland because of bankruptcy and could have been put in debtor's prison. Left his wife and his kids. He wasn't a very cool guy.
No, he wasn't a very cool guy. The best way I can describe it, he was in the right place at the right time. If it wasn't him, it would have been anybody else.
Yeah. And his son, it really made more of the name than John did.
Stanford,
yeah.
Maps of everything. He planned it all out. And then as soon as he left, is when the first governorship starts to happen, and California really starts to establish. But it's interesting to think that this what would have been a minute little blip in history that would have been over one man turned into such a big, everybody end all be all is going to be right here in the city.
He was actually I kind of think of him as a grifter. He was very good at ingratiating himself to people with power and making them believe that he belonged in the upper echelons, right? I mean, from getting stranded in Hawaii for 4 months, and who's he eating with? Consuls.
Exactly. He goes, okay, I'm going to be here. Make it work for me, right?
Yeah, I wonder, he learned all those languages before he fled Switzerland. I wonder if that's why his shop went bankrupt.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't really minding the shop. Set it up with his mother-in-law's money, because she was a wealthy widow. His wife's name Annette, so is mine. And but I wouldn't have put up with it. Do you know what I mean? And it said that he was just busy with his own interests, and he wasn't paying any attention to the store, which is what caused all the debts.
Yep, exactly. It stacks up. And he was always very much of a, we'll worry about getting it done now. We'll do the money later.
Right.
And that carried him through his legacy. And even when,
because he had this in mind. He thought the means will justify the end.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So fantastic. Thank you so much.
So
this is.
I have a memento too.
You do.
So I am actually one of the blacksmiths in here. I do all the demonstrations for fourth grade classes. I do a little trick where I'll take a horseshoe nail.
Yeah.
And then I'll turn it into a little salt dip spoon.
Oh
so
my!
Both of those.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much. You guys have been so outstanding today.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh! And back we go. That was incredible to be in there. I came here as a kid on field trips.
Oh, there we go.
And what I wouldn't have done as a 10-year-old to get in there. Can you imagine the havoc I would have wreaked?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Have a one. Thank you. I will. How amazing was that, you guys? So what he was referring to, my daughter is on this stream, and she's being very quiet, and I don't talk about her an awful lot. But I'm going to tell you that little Miss Ashley Loren, when I brought her and her brother here when they were just little itty bitty kids, they actually back then they had these recorded tours that you would kind of hold on to this almost walkie-talkie, right? And when we got it and we went to the first room and the walkie-talkie started telling us about the room, my daughter said, "Oh no, mommy, I will tell you about this room." And so she took the walkie-talkie away from me. She put it in the stroller with her brother, and we walked down the rooms, and she would give me her 3-year-old impression. Oh, this is where the baby takes the nap. This is where the mommy does the cooking. And when we got to the blacksmith room, I said, "Well, Ashley, what is this?" And she looked and she looked and she said, "Mommy, oh, this is a mess. and it was. And so that was what he was referring to. Look, wasn't that fascinating? And oh my goodness, the stuff I've gotten today. And the chief ranger, when I first got here, he does these reels on Facebook about the old printing presses. And he gave me a couple, 3 pieces of paper that came out of his printing press. Oh, that's my girl. She was very dramatic. We have no idea where she got it from. No idea whatsoever where she got that from. So this is the gunsmith shop. Are you guys enjoying your day here? I think we may go a little over time. This is the gunsmith shop, of course. Oh, and look, that's where they would have kept the charcoal for the blacksmithing. That was so fascinating being in there. Oh, Fran, I'm so glad you're having a wonderful time. Aren't these rangers just the most lovely people ever? They're just so kind. They're always very good to me. But I got here very early today, and I told them that my little girl, well, she's not so little anymore. She's 35. I told them she was going to be on the stream, and I told them this story about bringing her and her brother here when they were just 1 and 3 years old. And I told them the story, and they just thought that was just wonderful. Let's go keep walking, shall we? So we have the gunsmith room, and then we have, and I don't know. Oh no, this isn't very nice. So right next door to the gunsmith's room, somebody obviously slept here, right? Oh, Natalie, thank you so much. I'm just so happy that you're all here with me and you're enjoying it. And we will go to Old Sacramento, and we will go again. I know we've been before, and we will see what John Sutter wanted to do. He actually didn't do it. His son did, John Sutter Jr. I'm just so glad that you guys are here enjoying this. We got so lucky today that the park is quiet and the rangers have been delightful, and I am thrilled with my mementos. Oh my goodness. So unexpected. So unexpected. What is this? Oh, I think this must be, oh, okay, they call this the Vaquero room. Somebody obviously slept there. And I guess the Vaquero room meant everything to do with maybe cattle. I don't know. But I see saddle, and I see stirrups, and I see cowhides, and I see ropes. Wow. So cool. So you see, I've been coming here. Oh, goodness. I came here. Oh, those are bunks back there that have the baskets and things on top. That's a bunk, and a bunk down below. I see. Well, whoever slept in here had it an awful lot better than the Native Americans had it, because wherever they were kept, they had to sleep on the floor, no blankets, nothing. There's some windows covered with some old newspaper. And there was not even any place, there wasn't even, this is the gift shop. It's closed for the summer. Summers are much quieter here because they don't have all the field trips with the children, of course. But you know, when I come to think of it, I don't think I've ever been here when the gift shop was open. let's see what this room is. Okay. Oh, what is this? Oh, the carpenter shop. Yes, that makes sense, doesn't it? Doesn't that make sense? Look at the barrels and the benches. Oh, I see some chairs up there. Oh, sorry, it's awful. It's awful dusty for this kid. Let's see if we can. I still can't believe we actually got to go into the blacksmith shop. That was the coolest thing ever. Okay, what do we have out here? Oh, they must have done some work out here. So this is a covered work area. Looks like perhaps there was a place for some fires. Let's see. I'm in the sun, so I can't see if you're asking me questions. Let me get some shade. Okay. So this would have been, oh, it's so much cooler. Oh, it's so much cooler in here. Oh, look at the baskets. Those would have been for harvesting all of the crops that Captain Sutter, as he called himself, wanted to build here. I don't know what that wheel is. Maybe that's a wheel for perhaps, maybe it's a sharpening stone, perhaps. I'm thinking. Let's go see what's up here. Oh, this is another bastion. Please let me know if the signal fails, okay? Here we are. We holding up okay? I think if I remember right, I only had problems when I went to the, like, down to the lower cells. Okay. Great, friend. Thank you for letting me know. Here, we are facing the south, the west, and the north. Matter of fact, I'll show you the pond. Remember the pond when we were first walking around outside? There's the pond. Look at this contraption. And of course, there's the cannon. It's very lovely and cool in here as well. And here is the east facing. See the park. I can hear the wonderful fountain. All righty. Coming back outside to the other work areas. I think the tour may go a little bit over. I hope nobody minds. We're almost done. I would say we're 75% around the fort. This is another covered work area. And I wonder if anybody can guess. Oh, where's that helicopter landing? Oh, it's a life flight. It's landing on top of the hospital. Oh, I hope you're okay. Who's ever in there? Oh. Oh, golly. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I hope they're well. Oh, no. Well, somebody's not well if the life flight just landed there. Oh, I was life flighted someplace once, and it's, oh, give me anxiety. It gives me anxiety. All right. Can anybody guess where we are now? Take a guess. Look at the big barrels. Oh, thank you, Mary Lou. I made it down. I made it down. You know, stairs are not always my friends. And we only have a couple more flights to go because we're going to go up and see the hospital, the Fort's hospital. The distillery. Yes, Lynn. Ding, 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 ding. We are at the distillery. Yes. And it looks to be that it was a very, very busy and popular place, don't you think? Look at that. I still sometimes can't quite get over the ingenuity of it all. Truly. Okay, let's go. Here we are. We're in the courtyard. Well, the back courtyard, I'll say. And let's go over here. It's said to be a period kitchen. Oh no, is it closed? Yeah, it's locked. So let's go. Let's just walk around over here. Maybe that was the wrong door. Okay, let's see. Oh, this must be the period kitchen. Oh my golly. Look at that fireplace. Wow. Holy cow. And that, I guess, is like the makeshift stove, right? Because you've got the fire underneath. And then I don't know if you can see it. There's a ginormous, like, kettle that's dropped into it. Got a couple little tables, I would imagine, for the cooks to sit at, maybe while they chopped vegetables or kneaded their bread, right? So cool. And down there at the end, let me see if I can show you. This would have been the oven where the bread would have gone into, right? Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it really is nice and cool in there. And you see up at the top, perhaps that would have been maybe like the larders, right? Maybe where things would have been kept a bit cooler, I'm imagining. It's really interesting. It's just so cool that this kind of stuff has been preserved for us so that we can come back and see how other generations lived. And, you know, I don't know if I could have done it. I guess I wouldn't have known any other way of life, right? So my mother and other female relatives probably would have groomed me to this sort of living, but it seems sort of hard to imagine, isn't it? All right, let's we have some staff rooms. Let's take a look at so here's some pits where they would have done some outdoor cooking. Look at how large that kettle is. I'm in the sun, so I can't see your comments if you're making any. Fire pit. And I imagine that this would have been used probably for roasting pigs and cattle, right? It's just so hard to imagine moving. That is just, it is massive, massive. Here we have another cannon. Quite a small little one. Quite small, isn't it? And over here we have the well. And I'm sure the water would have been, well, they have it locked up, of course, because, you know, when they have field trips with the kids. I imagine that the water would have been so fresh and so cool because this is situated between the American River and the Sacramento River. And the American River is, of course, fed by the snowmelt of the Sierra Nevadas. All right, let's go up here. Are you ready? We're going to go upstairs to the doctor's office, to John Sutter's office, the parlor, the dining room, and the clerk's office. Hello, another ranger. How are you? I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. The staff here is amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, here we go. Aren't they the nicest people in the world? Okay. Oh, it's so cool up here. Signal's holding well. Here we have a window that is facing out into the courtyard. And this, I think, if I'm not turned around, is this the clerk's office or Mr. Sutter's office? I see. And it looks like Mr. Sutter had a bed in here as well. Wow. So interesting. Oh, it's so interesting. Okay, this is the dining parlor. And look at this table and that chandelier that would have had candles made in the candle shop for it. And this is where John Sutter would have dined and entertained all those foreign dignitaries, right? It's quite a long table. This is the doctor's office, the infirmary, perhaps. And there's 2 beds in the infirmary. And let me tell you that all those tools over there. Yeah.
Could take you someplace kind of special.
I would love to go someplace kind of special. Oh, thank you.
It's on a behind the gates tour.
What?
We had one on the weekends.
Yeah.
All ideas about visiting behind the gates.
Oh my God. I just got to go in the blacksmith
No.
shop and it was fabulous.
Yeah. Marco's a great guy.
Oh, he was, and I even got a souvenir. Wow.
John Sutter's office.
Oh my gosh.
None of the furnishings or anything are original. But they're period correct. And there's no photographs of what his office looked like.
Sure.
Photographs of buildings in the 1840s.
And the fort was restored in the
Fort was restored in the
1890s?
1890s.
Yeah, okay.
This building is original. This building is 80%
Yeah.
original.
Yeah, I've seen it in some of the pictures.
Yeah. All the
yeah,
pictures,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
still left standing.
Wow.
So the reason that this is a very historic place, this particular room is so historic, is that when his head marshal, James Marshall, his head carpenter,
Yeah.
mechanic, all that kind of maintenance guy, he was building a sawmill.
Up at Sutter's Mill to get the lumber down for the town and the wharf, right?
So they didn't even finish the sawmill yet, and then he thought it was gold, but he wasn't entirely sure. Gold when you find it on the ground doesn't look like.
Didn't they have to look it up in the encyclopedia or something, how to
They
test
did,
it?
they brought it down here.
Yeah. Wow.
So you're standing in.
Yeah.
And him and Sutter closed that door because they didn't really know about it.
Right.
They tested it. They weighed it against silver. Gold's much heavier than silver. They smashed it with a hammer. And of course, gold, you smash it with a hammer, it just squishes down. It doesn't break into pieces.
Really?
It's soft. That's why it's good for jewelry.
Okay.
And they did some other tests, and then they determined that it was indeed actually gold. Here in this room. So, depending upon who you talk to, in my opinion, the California Gold Rush started right here in this room.
Right.
And in February of 1848.
And they tried desperately to keep it quiet, right?
Secret.
Because they knew that the employees or slaves or whoever,
When
they
found
took
out,
their,
they all took it.
they did, right? And abandoned, and thus the fort was abandoned. And
most
wasn't
of
it
the
looted?
employees were
Right.
They didn't take off, but people you had looking for who were Europeans, and a lot of them were sort of like foremen or things like that. They took off.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Why work for Sutter and help him get
So like
rich?
you're a blacksmith. You're a blacksmith.
The skilled
He would have been
laborers.
a European of some kind,
Yeah.
or American, but then you would have had a group of Native Americans that were assisting.
And was the fort kind of looted once it was abandoned?
It wasn't necessarily looted. When Sutter finally gave up on his idea of having a big agricultural empire, he sold the fort. First, he was leasing out individual rooms, and he sold
Yeah.
the fort. And different merchants were using these rooms and the outbuildings for different things. But eventually, what happened was the center of commerce for the city of Sacramento moved down by the riverfront.
Right.
Sacramento.
Right.
And nobody really cared.
Because that's where the commerce was, that's where everything was
that's where
coming in and out.
coming in,
Yeah.
exactly. And so
And all the new people from San Francisco and,
the 49ers,
yeah, that's right.
over 100,000 for 2 years. There was only 30,000 people when it started. So,
And how did Sutter or Marshall meet? Is it Bannon, the one from San Francisco?
Yeah.
He was a merchant, right? He owned a mercantile in San Francisco. How did they meet
He
him?
was actually a merchant here.
Oh, he was.
He had San Brandon. He had a
Yeah.
store right outside here.
Yeah.
Also had a store in San Francisco.
It-
He was also the head of the Mormon church for.
And we have a Brandon's Island?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
there's quite a few things named after him.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things named after Sutter.
After John, right.
But what they did was since the fort wasn't really in use anymore, they cannibalized all of the things they could to build stuff down there. So
Sure.
the bricks they could use, the window frames, the windows, the
Sure.
doors, anything they could use to help build buildings down where Sacramento is now, where really downtown is now.
Were they still getting lumber from the mill once the
They
gold
didn't have
rush
any
started?
lumber from the mill. The mill was
No.
not finished.
When they
It was
discovered,
under
yeah.
construction.
Okay.
He had a big grist mill, water powered grist mill.
Yeah.
That he was planning on building too. None of those things happened.
Ah.
Once the gold rush happened. Yeah.
There's gold in them there hills.
It was interesting farming wheat.
Yeah. Fascinating. Now Sutter has a bedroom down there that's quite posh, I think, for those
For his
days.
time.
Oh, so what would his cot have been for in here?
He would have in here because for one thing, he liked to drink a lot.
Ah,
May not be able to get down those stairs to get to his room.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Or he just took a nap during the day. In those days, it's going to be really super hot this afternoon. Okay. It's the same weather back then. They didn't have any air conditioning or anything. So
I've noticed these rooms stay really cool
yeah,
though, because of the
helps.
adobe.
The
Yeah,
Adobe helps, especially if you're down below. It's in the first floor.
yeah.
The Adobe helps, but it's still not, perfect thing. So people typically kind of, shut it down. And,
These windows would have opened, so he would have got a bit of the Delta breeze.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. The Delta breeze. I moved up here about 12 years ago from Southern California, and everybody
Yeah.
talks about the Delta breeze. I'm not sure I've ever felt it.
You know about it? I live by Sac State,
Yeah.
and believe it or not,
You're right on the river.
oh, the breezes. I mean, it actually blew the winds that we get, blew one of my neighbor's shed into my yard. Yeah, we always have a breeze at my house.
So.
Crickets. Thank you so
You're welcome.
much. What a delightful day. You guys have been above and beyond kind. Oh, that was amazing. And Jared gave me some things from his printing press.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I told him because I said, I know you from Facebook.
Everybody knows him.
That's right. He said, how do you know me? And I said, this day in history, right? Thank you so much. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Thank you. How lucky have we been today? You guys, we've been behind the gates. So this would have been the clerk's office. We got insider information and everything. We got so lucky. So this is the clerk's office because it's across from the doctor's office. So I guess this is where the books would have been taken care of, right? You see the scale on the end of the desk. Oh boy, you guys, I almost hate to leave, but we're nearing the end of our tour. Here we go, back outside. Back outside. We're now in the front courtyard. So fascinating. And down the last set of steps we go. Can she make it? Yes, I can make it. I can make it. So we have another outdoor covered work area. Oh my gosh, I just saw a bunny. I saw that bunny last week when I pedaled down here to check the time. So this is just another outdoor work area. Looks like they perhaps did a lot of wood chopping and what? Oh, this heat. This heat. Okay, let's see what we have out here. So we are in the east yard. This is the beehive oven, they called it. Oh, thank you, oak tree, for your shade. I'm going to have a hot bike ride home, I think. There's the oven, the beehive oven that they cooked in. And here we have another open fireplace. Look at that ginormous kettle. You can see the kindling. And we'll check out that covered wagon, okay? But let's see what's right here. This is the bakery storage room. Oh, Natalie, I'm so glad you're enjoying it. It's been a really, really good day. This is the bakery storage room. I imagine they would have kept all their flour and wheat or whatever else in here, right? And actually very, very convenient because it's right across from the beehive oven. Let's see. And this is the actual bakery. Oh, I'm so happy that you guys are having a great time. This is the actual bakery in here. See their bowls to put their bread for rising. And I think all these shovels probably for coal, right? To move the coal around to keep it burning hot enough to bake their bread. So fascinating, isn't it? And to think some people hate history. I don't get it. Alrighty. And what do we have here? Oh, we can go in. Oh, we're inside. All right. Okay, we can get a little better look. How cool. I'm still behind a little gate here, but we're inside of maybe like a little ante room, right? Look. And this is the weaving room. Wow. Look at those looms. so fantastic. It's just so good. It's just so darn good. Isn't it? Wow. Let's take a look at this covered wagon, shall we? Oh, think of all the people that traveled to come out here in one of these. The wheels are actually quite big. Wow, holy cow. I cannot imagine. Oh, and not much room in the back, is it? And it would have been all full of supplies. Maybe some kids stuck back there. And so it says there's a little sign here, and it says this wagon is a replica of the type used by immigrant families in the 1840s to make the 2,000-mile arduous overland journey from the United States to Mexican California. The wagon design is very simple because repairs often had to be done on the trail. This is a small farm wagon, only about 10 feet long and 4 feet wide. It was typically pulled by 3 yoke of oxen, and the wagon has no seat, no brakes, and no springs. At the start of the journey, it was packed full of 2,000 pounds of food, clothes, tools, guns, bedding, and a very few personal possessions. Consequently, most of the travelers, including the children, had to walk the entire distance. A majority of those who traveled on the California Trail by wagon had Sutter's Fort as their destination, just like we did today. However, most wagons did not make it to the fort and were abandoned along the way due to disrepairs and difficult terrain, especially crossing the Sierra Nevada mountain range. Therefore, very few wagons were in California before the gold rush. This wagon is made from Tennessee hickory. It was built in 2004 in Mitchell, South Dakota by Hanson Wagon and Wheel to help interpret overland migration and traveling to the fort. My dearest friends, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can you see me? Thank you so much for coming today. This has been such a magical time here. It really, really, really has. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to go over there to you see my bike, the green pony is over there waiting for me. And thank you, thank you, thank you. On that note, from Sutter's Fort in California, I'm going to sign off, my friends, and I hope to see you on a stream soon. Bye-bye. It's going to be a very warm bike ride home, Fran, but that's okay. I've got some sun tea, so I'll be just fine. Thank you again, everybody. I'll see you on a tour soon. I'm glad you had a great time. I had a wonderful time. Bye-bye.